Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being on this call today. My name is Gyaan, and on behalf of i4C, we would like to welcome you all to our Gyaan Class 2021 series of webinars. These are basically 6 episodes over 6 weeks, every Wednesday at 11 a.m. These webinars typically focus on the startup journey, and this is the 4th in the series of our webinars. i4C continually focuses on student innovation, entrepreneurship, and seeks to solve the question of what comes next for a student in his or her journey. With successful events like the Smart India Hackathon, Smart School Hackathon, Gyaan Hacks, and now Gyaan Class, we constantly endeavor to bring you the best platforms to tune your knowledge levels, and this is one of them. We would like to thank Bootstart Co-working for powering this event through their channels and network. Bootstart is a premium co-working player based in Pune city with 13 locations in Pune and a total of 17 locations across the country. They have a large presence. They offer amazing value for money services for the clients who choose to work out of their spaces. A few ground rules: please mute at all times. For any questions on the Zoom platform where we are, please ask your questions in the chat box and we will attempt to answer every one of them. For any questions while accessing this webinar through our YouTube channel, please ask in the comment section. As I said earlier, we will endeavor to answer all the questions in the time frame that we have available to us. Now, with great pleasure, I would like to introduce our speaker for the day, Kunal Gupta. He is the current CEO of eMotorArt, and he will be speaking on the startup journey involving go-to-market strategy. In his own words, Kunal has this to say about himself. I am an engineer who have completed my master's in finance from Pune. I have been a seasonal entrepreneur and have had quite an exciting journey, starting with a small bike rental startup alongside his master's in finance, which got currently acquired by On Bikes. He has served as a co-founder and COO at On Bikes and has scaled the business from a team of 3 people to 200, and from 1 city to 11 cities pan-India. He has achieved a peak valuation of 250 crores in his journey with On Bikes. He has taken an exit from On Bikes and has been working as a CEO on solving the next-gen commute issue, which is clean and green mobility. Electric mobility is the future, he says, and we as a company are making amends in the market already with a presence in 50 plus cities in India and UAE. Thank you, Kunal, for joining us today for our session on go-to-market. The floor is yours, Kunal. Please take it ahead.
Thank you so much, Deacon. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming down for this exciting session. I want to start this journey, talk about it from more of my personal perspective. I am not here to put out any sort of Gyaan or a bookish knowledge. I will talk about my personal experiences. How has my journey been? How have I implemented GTM in my 3 companies which I have been associated with? I'll just share my screen, guys. Is it visible, Deacon?
Yes, Kunal, it is visible.
Awesome. So hi, this is me, Kunal Gupta. So who am I and what have I done till date? Currently, I'm serving as a co-founder and CEO of eMotorArt. eMotorArt is an electric bike company. It's a global company. We have businesses in 5+ countries as of now. We are the only e-bike company in India who has been exporting products to various countries, who have a huge base in Europe. In UAE, we've recently launched our B2C market, and India, we are present in 50+ cities. So this is the scale we are operating in India. Now, coming to my past, what have I done previously, right? I have been a part of my ride, which was an out of college startup. I have been a part of On Bikes, which is a funded company. We scaled up to 250 CR valuation. And I have been associated with a small company called One Menu. One Menu was a hospitality automation startup. Why have I done? I'll just take you through this journey for long. Now I'll start with my initial journey. What did I do previously? I am a civil engineer by education. Post that, I went ahead and did masters in National Institute of Construction Management, Pune. While I was doing masters, I and my colleagues and my classmates used to brainstorm a lot on various sets of business models, like you guys must be doing it, right? I empathize with every single student out there. I have been a student not so long before. So every weekend, every second day, we used to sit and brainstorm of various sets of ideas and plan to capture the world. And just understood here, okay, this is a doable model, this is a doable model. And on paper, every single business looks good, even from a small tea stall to a largest Amazon. Every single business, every single simple model looks good, right? Now, what happens? Like, if every single business is good, why don't people go out and implement it? Because that is the toughest phase. To jump in this, to jump in the pool, to get down there and work and execute is the toughest task. To get prepared for that is the toughest task. And that is one step we took while we were doing our masters. While we was doing our masters, we figured out uh, what are the gaps. We were working on various business models, and we were trying to figure out, okay, what are the gaps in the market? Can we experiment? Can we put out some business while studying, parallelly while studying? So our college, National Institute of Construction Management Research, it is based out of Pune. It was based in the outskirts of college. This is back in 2013-14, where there was very less penetration of Ola and Uber as a commute, right? And even if the penetration was there, the prices were too high for a college student to afford. Apart from that, Pune, as of now, the public transport is not that sorted, so you don't get an access to commute. So imagine a student crowd of 2,000 to 3,000 people sitting out of Pune at the outskirts of the city, don't have anywhere to go. They're sitting in college studying. Just sitting in college, studying, and don't have anywhere to go, only have to stay in the hostel rooms and work out of there, eat out of the hostel rooms. And every one of us understands how the hostel works, right? How the hostel mess works. So we figured out a gap that every single student has 98% of the crowd used to stay in the college hostel. Now, if one problem all of us used to face is, okay, you have to eat the mess food every single day for a year. How do we solve that? How do we cater to that, right? So we started brainstorming. We started figuring out, okay, what is the problem statement here? Why is everyone still suffering with the food which the mess is serving? Why are people not going out? The main problem was commute. Since everyone used to stay, it was an in-house college, so everyone used to stay inside the hostel. So very few people have their own bikes or cars or whatever to go out and serve. Now, for the people who doesn't have their bikes, how do they go out? How do they go out shopping, eating out, watching movies and whatnot? And that is where a small idea was born, which is a very simple, let's just come out and rent out bikes. We went ahead, we took some loan from family, we put in some of our savings, and we went ahead and bought 5 second-hand two-wheelers. We didn't understand, honestly, we didn't understand the legal applications to it back then, right? So we were like, yeah, let's experiment, let's understand how does it work. Previously, we had a word with a few of the students who might be interested in taking up these bikes, and there was a very positive response, and it gave us a confidence that, okay, let's go, let's take out some bike, let's buy some bikes, and let's start renting it out. Let's see how does it work. We went ahead, we went to the second-hand markets, did some research, bought out 5 bikes, and put it out in the college. Now that was the first challenge we faced in terms of marketing in life. Back then, Facebook, Instagram was not highly active. Also, we were not accomplished. I, coming from a civil background, most of my colleagues were from civil or architecture background. We didn't know what actually marketing is, what actually digital marketing is. So how do we reach out to every single student in the college? So there was the most basic mediums present out there. There was offline medium. There was WhatsApp groups. Of course, all classes, all segments had WhatsApp groups, and there were hostel boards. This is where we started putting out our posters, did some offline marketing, and started understanding people. And the response was immense. Every single person reached out. We started getting number of calls. We were 3 of our friends juggling between our classes and the business. So how it worked is basically, if the class is going on and there's a customer standing downstairs asking for a bike, we'll actually just take a small pee break. We'll go down, hand over the key, did some paperwork, and started doing this business. Now, within no time, say in 6 months, we grew this business from 5 bikes to 50 bikes. This was the kind of demand we were catering to at that time. every single person in the college needed it. We didn't understand the concept of TAM, SAM, SOM, which is total addressable market, serviceable addressable market, serviceable obtainable market. We never knew how many bikes will be enough for a college crowd of 2,500 to 3,000 people. We thought, yeah, okay, 5 is enough. 5 will be earning us decent enough money. We'll go out party. But it was never enough. The business kept growing. We had to put a stop ourselves at 50 bikes because it was getting out of control, right? Out of control in terms of the business was good. It was impacting our studies in a small way. Secondly, it was very tough to manage parallelly with our studies. But it was a brilliant experience. We made tons of money through it. We had a lot of experiences running that particular business, and we solved a major problem. We got so many happy messages from students who actually used to go out, eat, party, went on weekend getaways. Pune is a brilliant place. You can go to Lonavala, Lavasa, and where not. And every single weekend for months we were booked. So it was a beautiful journey, and there was a lot of learning. There was a lot of small learnings on how to deal with customers, how to deal with young customers, how to price your product, and that is something we'll talk about in the coming slides, right? This is how my journey started. Now, by the end of our college life, right, we had to decide, okay, this business is booming, this business is going on, but we didn't have a vision. We didn't know how to scale this up, how to take this from 2 colleges to 20 colleges or 200 colleges, right? We were still college students, didn't have any corporate experience back then. So that is where we started studying, we started understanding, and of course, the college placements hit. So all our 3 co-founders, we got placed, we got decent level paychecks in the college placements, and we started figuring it, okay, what is something we need to do. Suddenly an opportunity arose. Since we were doing good, we were covered by a few of the mediums based out of Pune, and one of the startups, which is On Bikes, caught our eye. We caught their eye, and that is where they called us for a meeting. They understood our business model, they understood the complete business, and we were offered a position plus an acquisition strategy there. So, and that is where our complete company, we 3 students based out of college, started a small company in college, grew it to a certain level, and which was acquired by a bigger company, a funded company, which is called On Bikes. On Bikes was something which was already funded at the most initial stage, but had a very big vision, had a very big tech platform to go and scale up to the complete country and abroad as well. So this is how we started my initial journey, and it was a beautiful journey. I took the bait of getting into the business, understanding the business. The worst it can go. So when I started it, I always thought, yeah, what is the worst that can happen, right? What if the bike doesn't work? More or less, it is a second-hand bike. I'll go back and sell it back to the place where I brought it from. I might lose on some money, but I'll gain a lot of experience. And I think that is the most important thing to learn, and that is the most important thing to inculcate in life. Wherein, if anything is adding value, if anything is giving you experience, I think you should always go for it. You should always take a bait. There should be no regrets. And that is how my life journey started, right? So again, I had a question in hand while the acquisition was happening. I always had an option to go for a corporate job or to join a startup as young as On Bikes. What did I do there? I did my pro and con, and I understood that my growth is only going to happen with a startup where I get to learn about multiple portfolios, where I get to work in different domains. I didn't know multiple domains. I was a civil engineer who learned finance. So more or less, I learned finance. My corporate job was in the finance domain. So I thought, how will I learn about marketing? How will I learn about business development? How will I learn about operations? And that is where I was curious, very curious. So I took a bait. I went ahead. I said yes to On Bikes. We shifted to Bangalore. Now, why Bangalore in itself? So On Bikes was a global company. Back then, we just starting figuring out which city to launch in the country, right? Why Bangalore? Everyone here knows Bangalore is the hub of startup in India. It is called as the Silicon Valley of India. We were trying to make a tech platform. When we talk about a tech platform, it is an app-based model. It's a website-based model wherein people can actually book, track, locate their bikes, locate nearby locations, and whatnot. So we wanted to make that platform, and that is where we thought, yeah, it should start from the Silicon Valley of India. Also, the Karnataka government is really supportive of all such startups. There was a legal licensing required. There was a lot of vision behind it, and that is where we took a bait. We went to Bangalore. Now the initial journey was a lot of turbulence. When I say turbulence, it was not the business turbulence, it was more of a legal turbulence. I never knew while doing my ride, I was still a out of college student doing a business on a white number plate. Everyone around sees a white number plate bikes, right? These are our personal bikes. I never knew that it is not allowed to rent those bikes. While I came to on, I got to know, okay, there's a separate set of registration requirement which has to be done with the central government, which has to be approved by the state government, and then only you can do this business. Then we went and talked to various authorities, talked to RTOs, and it took us 6 months journey. So that patience from starting out on to waiting for 6 months, doing all the groundwork and still sitting idle because there was no revenue. We were still contemplating, we were still making business plans, we were still making strategies, but there was no revenue. There was no business because we didn't have a license. We had a lot of anticipation from various businesses in forms of Ola, Uber, Flipkart, who wanted our bikes, who wanted our delivery bikes. They wanted to place our bikes with the delivery riders, bike riders, right? But then we couldn't give them. We didn't have the license. After 6 months, finally, after a lot of turbulence, after a lot of hiccups, we got the license, and that is how the journey started. We actually started with a team of 4, one small station in Bangalore, increased to 16 stations in Bangalore, and further increased to 11 cities and 200 plus stations pan India. With a team size starting from 4 when I initially joined to a team size of 250 people, scaling from a valuation of a CR when we started to a valuation of 250 CR. Now, how did all this happen, right? It was not just a base of luck, right? It is more or less it is an operations driven company, right? When you understand that renting out bikes to normal people, renting out bikes to delivery riders who are in thousands, renting out 10,000 bikes in total to various set of crowds pan India, it is an operational intensive heavy job. We faced a lot of turbulence, we faced a lot of hiccups, but then the growth was fast because the business model was intact. We always we coming from a master's finance background, we always made sure that this is not a burning. This is a proper business where you burn to earn more market, where you burn to capture more market, where you burn to expand, but you don't play with the unit economics. When I say unit economics, if you so for example, if I'm renting out a bike for a rupee, I should earn 1.2 out of it, right? I should earn more from what I'm renting. It is all the concept has always been that, and that is how we went successful. We were one of the first profitable startups out of the bike rental industry. We grew immensely. Back in 2017, we were the largest bike rental company based out of Bangalore. We were based in both the segments. When I say both the segments, it is B2B and B2C. Now, what does B2B and B2C mean? B2B is basically business to business. Now, you must be seeing it might amaze you that we have more than 20 lakh riders in India who are delivering your products, you are delivering your food, delivering your Amazon packages and whatnot. Now, these riders are mostly are people who are coming from tier 3, tier 4 rural villages who wants to earn a living. They cannot afford a 70,000, 80,000 rupees bike at the first go, right? They come here to earn a living of 15 to 20,000 by delivering the packages. Now, these are the people which had a lot of, which were a target crowd. We went ahead, did some tie-ups with Flipkart, Amazon, Ola, Uber, and started renting out bikes to them. When we started renting out bikes to them, we understood that, okay, with providing them a 3,000 rupees bike, we are actually empowering micro entrepreneurship. It opened a large domain in the country, right? Everyone who's probably unemployed in a village came to a city, took a bike from us, went to Flipkart, registered himself, went to Swiggy, registered himself, and started delivering the product. They were earning in no time. They were earning 12 to 15 grams a month, which was a quite a plus, and we actually gained a lot of publicity out of that. Now, this is our B2B side of the business, which was a pure play, simple renting outside. Coming to the B2C. When I say B2C, I'm sure most of us must have been going to Goa and Mysore and whatnot. We usually go there and rent out bikes, rent out Activas, right? How does it work? We pay by the day or we pay by the hour and take out the bike and go ahead. Now, we being a startup, someone who wants to scale, someone who is running 10,000 bikes pan India, someone who's operating 11 cities in the country, we had to make the product, make the bike technologically savvy, technologically equipped. So we installed GPSs and security devices in every single bike. Every single bike was tracked. How do you book this bike? We had an app. How do you extend the booking? We had an app. There was a website, there was an app. You can actually go ahead, book, check the availability, check the rates, and go ahead and do all the bookings. So since the technology was there in place, it was very easy to scale up, and no business is possible to scaling up without the technology. And the right side of example to it is obviously the first startup of mine, which is My Ride. We were not equipped with technology back then. We didn't understand what is technology. We didn't understand what is what is marketing, what is GTM particularly, right? Since we didn't do it, we capped our growth to 50 bikes. Imagine if we would have done that in the company like On, we would just died in a certain period of months. We wanted to scale, and for scaling, we took we were technologically equipped. We understood marketing. We started implementing various strategies. There were a lot of experiments which were done, and a lot of came out successful, a lot of which didn't come out successful, and we'll talk about it as we go further. So yeah, more or less, this was the journey of On Bikes. To name the cities, we started with Bangalore. We were present in Bangalore, Mysore, Hyderabad, Udaipur, Jaipur, Gurgaon, Noida, Ahmedabad, and Pune. So this is how we grew. We grew our market, and it was a tremendous response. We were doing multi crores of revenue every month on month, and has been a beautiful business. It's still running till date. Pandemic has made it a bit slow, but we are very positive that it will come back and it will boost again. So that has been the journey of On. Now I'll just go down to the GTM side of it. Okay, so I'll just talk a bit about what has been my journey so far. I was always the kid who had a business knack, I must say, not boasting too much, but then who had a business knack, tried doing small businesses, tried selling greeting cards to people, tried selling juices and whatnot in my life, and learned a lot out of it. Growing up, there were more learnings. We with my first business, we made a lot of money. So there's a relationship with money. There's a book called Psychology of Money, which teaches us a lot about our relationship with money. Money is something which we need to earn and respect, which we need to know how to use it, right? It is something which can come in a flash and go in a flash. And that is what our college journey treated us. That was, even though we did a business, a lot of money came in, but then what did we do with that kind of money? Did we actually throw it out in parties, or did we actually reinvest in the business and grew it and came down to a level which has actually complemented us to do what is there till date? Third journey has been the on-bike journey, where I chose passion over money. I have always offer value wherein you should always go for your passion. You should always go for your values. The money will follow you. The money is always a byproduct of something you're working, loving on working on, right? The money is always the secondary aspect to what you love. Third is the e-motorrad journey, the current serving of mine. Why we started this, we'll talk about it at the end of the discussion. This is something which is very close to my heart. We are revolutionizing the country in a way wherein we are providing green, sustainable products to the country and abroad, and we'll talk about it much more as we go forward. GTM. We'll start it. So I have been given a topic of the day, which is called GTM, go-to-market strategy. Now, for me, I am not a marketing guy. I have been the business guy forever, but I would love to talk GTM from a perspective of why, what does it mean to me, right? What did it mean to my businesses? Go-to-market strategy is a plan of an organization utilizing inside and outside resources. Go-to-market strategy in simple terms is basically how do you reach out to the customer, what is the value proposition you give out to the customer, and how does the customer understand the product. No matter what, how good a product do you have, you might have the best phone out there making out of your factory in a small place, right? How do you communicate it to the world, how do you reach out to the world, is something which GTM tells you. It is one of the most important aspects of the business apart from product. So okay, GTM is the reason why actually startups are slightly different from companies. Now, why do I say this? Because GTM is a way of experimentation. Usually, when you become a bigger corporate, it is tough to experiment with strategies. In startups, it usually gives you a leverage. You are very agile, you are very fast. Where you can, if something is not working, you can quickly change and start working on something else. If Say, for example, Facebook ads are not working, you'll go on Google. If Google is not working, you'll go on offline medium, put out an influencer marketing campaign, do whatnot, right? So that is how startups are usually different. They're usually the most important factors of any startup. It makes you stand out, it makes you scalable, it makes you fundable. Now, when I say all these three aspects, I want you to just go back and think of my two startups. One was MyRide, one was On. Why was MyRide a successful business but not a scalable startup? Why was On a successful startup and a scalable business? Why did it scale? Because it had the right kind of GTM. With MyRide, we were only targeting a college crowd. Uh, with On, we were going to delivery boys, we were going to college crowd, we were going to IT crowd, we were going to weekend commuters. We're going everywhere. Plus, we were scaling up with technology. We were doing the right set of marketing, which we couldn't do in MyRide because we didn't have the equipped knowledge. And that is how it got funded. That is how it raised multiple rounds of funding, because it had the right set of GTMs. It is an absolute important aspect of any kind of business. GTM strategy should identify a market problem and position your product as a solution. So, going back, when I give an example of MyRide, what was the market problem? The problem we saw is people are not able to commute at a cheap cost. People are not able to go out to various restaurants, to various cinema halls. Let's provide them a solution. So we got a product, equipped it, and gave a solution to the company. Similarly, we did the similar set of solution to delivery boys, to weekend commuters, to IT crowds, and whatnot. Now, there are 6 steps to GTM. I'll relate all the steps with my businesses because I think that is the best way to explain rather than giving you a theoretical knowledge. Steps to GTM. One is the product. What was the product in my case? The product in MyRide is the product was the service of bike rental. It was the product. Now, how seamless did we have to make? We kept on iterating, we kept on working, we kept on making better WhatsApp communications because that is all we knew back then. We worked on better customer experience. We wanted to answer the calls in the perfect way. And that is what our whole product was, right? Product shouldn't always be a physical product. Product can be a service, product can be a physical product can be a wholesome service plus product, right? That was a product in one menu, in MyRide, sorry. When I come to On, our product was the complete tech platform. I never call our product as an Activa or any sort of bike which we rented out. Our product was a tech platform. Why a tech platform? Because that was the platform which was providing accessibility. It was providing accessibility to the particular market which needed to cater. So that is the complete product. Now coming to the second step, and a very important step. What is a market, right? We all must have heard in the previous presentations I've seen with i4C. We've talked about TAM, Samsung, total addressable market, serviceable addressable market, serviceable obtainable market. We didn't understand all this when we started the business. Now, how do you understand? If we would have understood that, okay, the market size is too huge, how do we place our product? We shouldn't have come up with 5 bikes initially, right? We should have come up with 20. We should have taken more loan, or we should have gone to more colleges. That is where the whole set of research is required. What is the total market size? What is the need? How do I obtain this market? How do I avail this market? How do I actually go out and service each and every individual? Similarly, in On, we had to understand what all cities the requirement is there, what all crowds are there. So I'll give an example. While in Bangalore, we were catering to a lot of IT crowd and startups. In Jaipur, we were catering to a lot of tourists. Now, these are 2 different markets, 2 different set of crowds. Although the service is the same, the market is different. So you need to understand that where does your product fit in and place it accordingly, right? This is how we look at the actual market. Now, value. For a tourist, what value do you add? For a tourist, you add accessibility. When you go to Goa, if you are given a 2-wheeler, you actually go out and you can roam around wherever you want. If you are dependent on a local cab or a local taxi, you can actually go to 1 place or 2 at the max, because either the cost is high, either he won't take you everywhere you want. You can't roam freely. So that is one value we added at a much more economical cost. Always, we were one of the most economical players back then. There were multiple reasons to it. We wanted to scale at a very good pace. We were funded. We wanted to provide the right set of value, which we did, and that is where we came out here. Okay, since the unit economics was working, we came out to be the most economical player in the country back then. 4th point, segmentation. Now, when we talk about segmentation, we have to understand the curve that where do you want to fit your product in? Why do you want to bring in an Activa? So I'll tell you my portfolio of bikes which we used that on. We even had a bike like a Splendor or a CP100, an Activa, and a Royal Enfield Himalayan or a KTM Duke. So these are different segmentations in altogether, right? KTM Duke and Himalayan are a premium segment, while Splendor is a delivery segment. So you need to understand that what segment, what place you need to place which bike. In Goa, you don't need to place Splendors. You can place Activas, you can place higher end bikes because the crowd, the tourist crowd pays for that. When you come to a delivery segment, when you go to Flipkart, Amazon, you can't pitch them that take out our Avengers and take out our KTMs. You have to pitch them, take out the most economical bike present in the market. And that is how you segment and that is how you price the product, which is the most important thing in the business. Understanding what is the price, what is the right price of the product, what is the right value of the product is the most important aspect of any business. We might have seen a lot of businesses with a lot of good products, a lot of good placement. Might be what happens is the price might be too high or too low. Too low price also kills the company. Too high price kills the market. So you have to attain that with experimentation, with the right set of research, and that is what we've done. The fifth part, distribution. Uh, Very right set of example again, going back, explaining again with my previous startups, my right and on. My right, what was the distribution? The distribution was based out of two colleges in total, catering to maximum 2,500 colleges sitting out of one parking, literally one parking. While we were sitting in the distribution at on, we wanted to create a massive setup. We were present at 200 plus touch points pan India. How did we achieve this distribution? Again, to the right set of technological enablement, right set of technology, right set of marketing strategy, accessibility to different cities, understanding the market. Distribution has always been the king. Everyone is aware of a company called Amazon, right? It is the biggest, highest gross value company in the world. Why is it so successful? It actually sells the product which you get in the market, right? But what is it something doing something different? It has the biggest distribution network in the world, which no one beats, right? Distribution is the most important key in any business, which is really important for my current business, which is eMotorrad, which we'll talk about it going forward. And finally, the promotion. When I say promotion more or less means the communication. When I say communication, I might have the best product, the best set of customers, the best distribution also. But what if I'm not communicating it to the customers, right? What if I'm not telling the customers what do they actually want? Why should they buy my product? If no one comes and tells me that, okay, this bike rental service is available here, how will I get to know? So this is again the GTM's final call, that how do you market it? How do you communicate it to the right side of crowd? How do you bring the crowd? How do you bring a customer from his home to your place? Is something a funnel you need to work on, and that is how we've done. In MyRide, we use promotion in terms of WhatsApp, in terms of pamphlets, in terms of word of mouth strategy. In on, we used Facebook, Instagram ads, we used Google ads, we used a website, we used app, we used college promotions. For a fact, there was a time when we sponsored a Mumbai Cricket League. We sponsored a team in Mumbai Cricket League, and we tried experimenting. We were like, yeah, okay, this might give us a lot of coverage. We with a college, with a sponsorship at college, we actually called Vishal Shekhar for a concert. Now, how did that went well? That didn't go ahead with well with us. Reason being, it only catered to one set of college, but our target market was sitting in various cities, right? We had to do something else, but that was a good experiment. That was a good learning. So you need to keep experimenting with your marketing aspects. You need to understand where should you promote, what is the right set of crowd, how many people will you reach out to, are the people you reaching out to the right set of crowd, do they actually need your product? After all these, jotting down all these aspects, you need to finalize, okay, this is the place I need to do the promotion. These are the basic steps to GTM. Now, coming to the four components of GTM: product market fit, target audience, competition, and demand distribution. As we talked about it, product market fit is absolutely important. Uh, Taking an example, if in on, we might have the best distribution, we might have the best Activas on road, we might have brand new vehicles on road. What if we didn't have the right tech platform? What if we didn't have the right app? What if we had an app which always crashed? Made no sense. There wouldn't have been any business coming in, right? So you need to have an amalgamation of multiple things come into place, multiple parameters coming into place, and which makes a perfect product market fit. You need to have the right set of bikes, the right set of distribution, sitting at the right location with the right set of technological enabled, and that is what a product market fit is. Target audience. Now, if I have to select a place, what if I rather than sitting in front of a college or on an IT office in Bangalore, what if I go out and sit in front of say any outskirts of the city? Obviously, no one is going to come and take my bike from there, right? So understanding the target audience and placing the bike in front of them, placing the bike in the right place, placing the product in the right place is extremely important. Competition and demand, a very important factor of GTM. Now, why do I say this, right? Competition is always necessary and always healthy. They teach you multiple factors. They teach you what others are doing right, what others are doing wrong, what are the learnings for them, what is the right pricing point. You know, there are multiple products wherein you can actually price your product really high, but due to competition, either you'll go low or due to competition, you'll go high, right? So it is very important for us to understand the right set of value, what is the competition doing, and place the product accordingly. Competition teaches you a lot of things and keeps you on your toes. So whenever you plan your business, it's a very important tip to have in life. Whenever you plan your business, whenever you make a business strategy, never be scared of there's already enough market. There are many players doing it in the market. What is your USP? What you have to concentrate always on your USP. And if you think you can do it better than anyone else, you can do it better than probably the Amazon and Flipkarts of the world, go ahead and do it. Why not give it a try? We still have multiple e-commerce platforms building even after the giants like Amazon and Flipkart. Why are they doing it? Why are they still successful? Because they have their own USPs, they have their own product placement, they have their own demand, they have their own target audience, right? So you should never be scared of what the competition is doing. You should always focus on, you should learn from them and implement a better strategy at your business. This is what we've always learned in our business, understanding the demand. Distribution, as we talked previously, distribution is the key. You need to have a distribution through various mediums. It can be location based, it can be online based, it can be website, app, it can be Instagram, Facebook, wherein you can promote the ads. So distribution is a varied of services. Now, let's put a price to price comparison or a product to product comparison, and I'll give you a clear understanding of what is my right, what is wrong. In while making my GTM, the first question is always, what is the product? Who are you selling? So the first question says, what are you selling? I was selling a bike rental service on exactly the same with technological enablement. So you see, both the services are same here. What products does solve your, what product problems does our product solve? In my right, we were solving in the college startup. We were solving commute problems. We were providing cost efficiency. We were solving a product problem which was availability issues. There were no autos, there were no public commute, there was no Ola Uber. In on bikes, we were solving a commute problem. We were solving cost efficiency. What we were doing extra is we were giving a technological enablement, but the availability issues were still there. So more or less, again, the same problem. So you see probably a 5 lakh rupee startup and a 50 crore rupee startup doing exactly the same thing. Competition is still there, but doing exactly the same thing. Now, how does the product change going forward, right? How do you know what does our customer need and when does it need it, right? So we went there, did a consumer survey, we talked to a lot of students and we understood the need. While in on-bikes, we did a survey, we did a competitor analysis, we did a demand analysis. When you do a demand analysis, you understand that what is the actual need of the market, right? How much will you charge and why will you charge? So here, while we were starting my ride, there was no cost which was too low. So we, it was like, yeah, we used to raise our rates really high during the weekend because we knew we were going to be sold out by the weekend. We used to lower our rates as per the demand. And since it was a small business, it was actually feasible for us to do it. We had a very high value proposition because there was no competition. And that is where we kept a high price. While we came to on, it was a big learning. We wanted to become the most economical player. Why? Because there was a high competition. Even for a fact, Ola Uber was a competition for us. Back then, Ola Uber used to serve their cars at 10 to 12 rupees per kilometer. So we had to beat that. We had to get our products at 50% of that cost, right? So we had to keep our competitive pricing. So you need to understand that every single market, every single business has its own pricing strategy. You need to understand what is the value you are providing and base your price on that. Now, coming to the markets side of it. Now, who will buy a product? Understanding. My right now, who are our customers? My customers were college students. In on bikes, I had a varied set of customers: IT employees, college students, office commute, new to the city people, weekend getaways, delivery boys. So there was a lot of people to cater to, and that is how we actually got funded, because such a huge crowd, such a huge population to cater to. So your market should be really high. We talked about TAMs and SOM. Your TAM should be really high to actually get funded, to actually interest a investor. How does an investor earn out of his investment, right? It never earns when you're doing a small scale business, earning small profits every month on month. It earns when you create value. How do you create value? When you scale the business. How do you scale the business? Is catering to varied set of crowds, opening up new markets. And that is how you want to answer these 4 questions in markets, which is absolutely important. The 4 questions are: who will buy your product? What do you know about your customer? Who are your ideal customers? And specific group segments more likely to buy your product. So what do you know about them? We understood while we were in college, while we were on understanding the IT crowd, we understood various sets of what are their spending habits. Where do they actually spend their money? Do they spend their money eating out? Do they spend their money traveling out? You have to do an analysis of that. You have to understand the use case. Where do they take your product? Where can they take your product? Alternate. What are the alternate options? What is the competition? And what is the user behavior? If once you have an amalgamation of all these aspects, you actually make it a mix. You actually do an experiment. You know the crowd. You know an ideal person who will use your bike. Now coming, who is your ideal? Who are your ideal customers? We segmented it similarly to who will buy your product. So luckily, our ideal customer versus who is buying your product came down to a similar parameter. When it comes down to a similar parameter, it's always a win-win. So you need to do this analysis very importantly. Now, specific groups or segments most likely to buy a product. So when you do this analysis, understanding it, who is my customer, who is going to buy. When you go out and talk to customers, specific groups, specific IT places, whatever your product is, when you go and talk to the customer, you understand who are the segment, what is the location, what is the place where people are going to buy my product. So you need to segment it absolutely rightly. Right? This is what the market talks about. Going forward, marketing messages. Coming to the last side of GTM. What is GTM? What do we do by GTM? What is a GTM? GTM is a go-to market strategy. End part is, how do you message? How do you tell people what is my marketing strategy? What is my product? What is the value I'm adding, right? So this is how our messaging went forward for both the products. How will those people use the product? For my right, people are using it for eating out, shopping, getaways. For on, it was delivery, office commute, weekend getaway, and leisure. Secondly, how do you add value to them, right? How can you make them imagine they have a better life because they are your customers? This is very important, guys. If a person doesn't conceive your product as it is adding value to their life, they won't use the product. You need to understand, you need to get into their skin, you need to talk to them to understand. So with MyRide, we provided them easy accessibility and availability. Very easy. Just when you step out of the college, you have your bike in the parking available. That is the accessibility we wanted to provide them, which no one else was providing. While in on, we were providing them the most economical option. Economical, say if you're spending $100 a day on your commute, we are providing the same at $50. Why won't you come? So we are providing the most economical option, and that is how you provide value as well. What medium do you use it to communicate the product? This is something we learned the hard way, that you cannot go out and market every product everywhere, right? Made no sense to. So, for example, if I went ahead and did a Facebook marketing to every single person in the city while I was studying, while I was doing my ride, it didn't make any sense, right? So you need to understand what is my segment crowd and market what to them. Now, how do I market? What is the medium? For my ride, it was word of mouth, WhatsApp group, and offline reach out. For on, it was digital medium, paid marketing, word of mouth marketing, company tie-ups, and various partnerships which we did. So we tried out various things and it worked out tremendously well. So this is what my marketing messaging has been. And I hope I have been in a small way made you understand why did I take this journey from comparing it with 2 different startups, guys? Because you have to understand that a small out of college born startup can do wonders as a good business, but to scale it to a different level, to consider it as $1 million, trillion, $1 billion company, to make it that company, You need to understand, you need to implement all these go-to-market strategies. You need to have the right set of technology, right set of GTM in place to scale it. And that is where I give you a small example of what my 5 lakh rupee company was and what my 250 CR company was. Right? These are the two simple examples for that. Coming to the last slide of it, I'll just before this, I'll give you a brief gist of what we are currently doing. A year and a half back, I took an exit from On. It is really successful, still going on. My motivations were doing in something new, something much more exciting, which was electric commute. We all understand electric EV is the future of the world. Everyone knows Elon Musk. Everyone knows what Tesla is doing. So I also wanted to do something. I went ahead. We traveled along with my co-founders. We actually traveled to countries like Europe and US, where we understood, okay, what is the market? How are people actually using the electric vehicle? And we were amazed by the fact that in Europe, there is around 70 to 80% penetration of EV. And you're like, oh, wow, why is the environment so clean there? Why there is so less population? Because of the factor that they value the EV domination so much, and understood, okay, this is the future. I need to go back to my country and implement this. That is how my journey has started. We have been doing pretty good. We have been selling e-bikes in the country. To give an aspect, we are the second largest player in the country as on date, selling units of e-bikes. We have a business globally as well. We have been exporting a lot of products from India, made in India products, saying proudly so. We have a distribution in 50 plus cities today, placing products for various set of crowds. So here also we're trying out different. We have a very premium bike. We have a bike for the delivery segment and placing out into different markets. And this is how the journey has been very exciting. This is the start, but we want to empower India. We want to empower the country with the right set of electronic AV products and make their fuel cost go low and provide the planet with a greener and cleaner solution. We need to complement to the climate change policy, right? We are seeing how the climate is changing. We are seeing how the IC engines are impacting the globe, right? We need to work towards it, and that is what we're working out today. It has been, by God's blessing, the business is good as of now. People are adopting to EV. I hope you guys someday, on our website, we have an option of free test rides. Please go ahead and test out the rides and understand the product. No matter what you buy it or not, I am sure you'll love the product. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, Deacon, for your time. I'm looking forward to certain questions, answering them. Deacon, I can't hear you. Sorry.
So actually, there is one question. So I'm requesting the participant to unmute and ask the question.
Hello, sir. Please tell me about how to choose co-founders.
Okay. So, a very tricky question. There are various aspects to it. For me, my journey has always been two ways. First of all, understanding the value, complementing value, what a co-founder can add. Second is the trust. We all read a lot about how co-founders break up. Bringing a co-founder in is as good as a marriage. Once you have done it, it is very tough to get out of it, right? So, calling in a co-founder, it can be a friend if he's adding in value. It might not be a friend because friendship comes with its own packages, right? So for making a co-founder, there should be two things. One should be trust, which is very important. You scrutinize the person, you understand what is the value, what is his vision. Your visions should match, hands down. No matter what, how good a friend is, how good a person is, how experienced a person is, but if he doesn't have the right set of values, if he doesn't have the right set of vision to take your business, to take the common business forward, it is absolutely impossible. So bringing in a co-founder is always a mix of the right vision, the right values, and the right trust for me. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Hello, Kunal. I have one question. I am Pankaj Kasliwal.
Hi.
how much amount of money, like once you go into the market and once you develop a product,
Right.
for your case, basically, I am basically from oil and gas sector. So
Oh,
basically, how much amount of money do you put into your R&D? Because these product, these battery ranges, because there are various types of batteries, nano additized battery, lead acetate battery, battery swapping system, ethanol fuel cells, hydrogen fuel cells. So
right.
because you have to always keep on
Absolutely.
looking into this,
Absolutely.
and
So,
also being from oil and gas sector, oil and gas sector is a ready-made customer for a lot of startups basically.
right, right, right.
What do you suggest? And basically, because development is a continuous process, innovation and invention. I'm not saying invention. Innovation has to be continuously done. So
Right.
right from the beginning, it is to be done, or depending on the availability of the funds, it is being done. What do you suggest for the all newcomers?
Very good question, guys. So, to give you an example, R&D, as you rightly said, is an ongoing process. It is a never-ending process. You have to keep on experimenting, keep on making your product better. Now, how do we do it? What did we do it? We went to different markets, as we talked about. We went to Europe, US, China, Taiwan, and various countries. We understood what are the right set of products working there as a country, right? We bought that products. We bought single set of products there. We got it to our country. We actually got to start with this particular company while the EV segment. We got 34 products in the country. We tried experimenting at various places, we went to dealers, we went to cycling enthusiasts and understood that what is the best kind of product do you like? What are the components are you liking out of this? And then we made a mix out of it. Then we started manufacturing one single product at the time. We started investing in companies who are making small products out of it. We started investing in the battery segment. We started investing in the BMS model. And that is how we do it. I won't say that you get the best product on the day one. We started experimenting. It was a long journey. When I say long journey, it took us actually 8 months to reach out to the product we were really happy with and the market accepted it. If you look at our journey, when we launched our product in 8 months, we sold out more than 250 bikes in 30 days, which is the biggest achievement any company has faced in the EV segment particularly. It was the fastest growth which we faced because we went out and made a product which the market actually needed. So what happens at a lot of times when we do our R&D, we think we always want the best product. It is not the case, right? The market is still developing. The market still doesn't know. When we say that, people still doesn't know what kind of EV is required. They still have an expectation. Okay, I just want a bike which runs at 150 kilometer speed. It gives a range of 200 kilometer speed and whatnot. Now, how do you enable that? How do you provide the right set of quality? How do you make a BMW out of it? How do you make a luxury segment out of it? Is something we are constantly working on, and that is where we actually invest. We invest in the customer persona. We try to give them the right set of use case. We make them use case. We use the products ourselves, and that is what our R&D cost is, and then that is how we grow. I hope I answered your question in a small way.
Thank you. Actually, R&D is a continuous and constant.
Absolutely. There's no ending to R&D. I'm sure even after 15 years down the line, I'll be answering the question in the exact similar way. So yeah.
Every startup goes through a certain peak, and it goes to the bottom peak also. So basically, when you are on the top, basically you should be ready to go down to the bottom, and your next product.
110%. So when you are at the top, you need to be prepared of bringing a better product and not be hard enough on you to understand that, okay, this is the best product and I'm not going to experiment. I'm just going to distribute this. The learning, it is always a learning curve. So you have to be on your toes in the startup journey.
Do you keep on looking for funding or you try to dilute your equity? What are the models?
So particularly in this, I have been fortunate enough to go through both the journeys. In my last journey, we were a heavily funded startup. In my current journey, we are bootstrapped. Why we took a conscious call of being a bootstrap company as of now? Not that we are not looking for funding, but why a bootstrap company? Because what our core expertise is distribution, sales, and marketing. That is something we figured out the most initial way, and we started doing international business. While we did international business, since the market is very huge, we attained profits and we started investing in our country. We invested a lot of money, particularly in India. It is still a burning game in India, but we have a lot of chunk of profits which are coming internationally, and that is how we distribute the money in the country. Right now, we are completely bootstrapped, still growing very fast. but we will look for a funding for growth. Funding is only needed usually for growth and not growth and R&D particularly. For distribution and sales, we always believe it can be kept as lean as possible. A very important learning: when you see the market is too huge, don't go for funding for doing the marketing activities. You can do a marketing at $100, you can do a marketing at a crore rupees, right, as well. You should go for a distribution. You should always go for a growth strategy, and that is what we poorly believe in. So yeah, we do look for a funding for the growth side of it, but not for the marketing perspective.
Great. Do we have some more questions? So Parthish, can you take it forward?
Yeah, so there is a question from Shrikant. What is the most important stage for a startup? What are the objectives of a startup stage?
Okay. I think every stage is most important, and the day you decide that you want to do this startup, the day you jump in can be the most important stage. The day you launch the product can be the most important stage. The day you have your first customer can be the most important stage. The day you have your first revenue can be the most important stage. So there's no ending to a startup journey, and it's an everyday fun hustle as we speak about it. I'm sure most of the people here who are coming from a startup background can relate to it. None of the days you wake up with a boring attitude. It is such an exciting journey. It is such a humbling journey. It throws you down. It wakes you up. It keeps you to the moon. Similarly, it keeps you grounded. So there is no one answer to it. I'm so sorry, Shrikant, but then it is always, every day is a new learning. Every day is a new journey. So it is a fun ride. I would recommend every single person to take this roller coaster ride once in a lifetime, and it is a beautiful thing to have. It is an amusement park in itself.
Right. There is one more question from Prachetas Nair. While promoting my product, should I highlight product's feature or the advantages the customer gets?
So I don't think there's a right or wrong to this answer, but what I believe is something I'll tell you. I strongly believe you should always communicate what value do you provide to the consumer, right? Anyone can talk about a future, and have you ever met a company who says that my product is not good? Everyone says that my product is good. This is a new feature. If your feature is absolutely standing out, then whatever the market is selling, you can actually market that. But apart from that, you should always tell the value. You should always speak about the use case. When I say the use case, you should showcase a customer using your product and how is it helping him. And I think that is the best way to market any sort of product.
Do we have any other questions? Feel free, please.
Actually, we have one more question.
There is one more question actually.
From Rakesh.
How
So what is
Go ahead.
what is the future of electric bikes with respect to affordability and design?
With respect to?
Affordability and design.
When we speak about affordability, I believe at least in the two-wheeler bike segment, we've almost come down there in terms of affordability as a country like India. If I talk about the global scale, it is already affordable there. They are using it at a very, very high scale. The governments are promoting it. In a country like India, we are reaching out there, right? Today, an IC engine Activa, which is the most commonly used bike, costs you 90,000 bucks. Similarly, an EV scooter might cost you somewhere near that, somewhere a lakh rupees. Now, when you talk about affordability, we as a human, we as an Indian citizen should always look as a long-term perspective. An average Indian commuter spends around 100 bucks a day or 80 bucks a day on fuel. With EV, you have to spend 2 to 5 bucks a day doing the exact similar commute you are doing. Now you understand at a scale, within a year, you will be saving, I think, more than 60,000 rupees on your product, which is insane. As a country, we will be saving thousands of crores in only the fuel cost while we move on to. So when you say affordable, it is already affordable, man. There's no doubt it cannot be affordable. The accessibility cost is high today because the distribution is less. The market knowledge is less. When everyone starts adapting it, eventually the accessibility cost will come low. I understand the car or a bike is costly as a one-time purchase. But when you see it as a 3-year purchase, it will always cost you less, way more lesser, like 90% more lesser than what you will spend on an IC engine.
I think there's one more question. from Rennie. Rennie is asking how to calculate the number of products during starting up. I don't understand this question, Rennie.
All right. Rennie, can you just elaborate? I think I got the gist, but if you can just be a bit more clear.
Is it audible, sir?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So actually, my question is that as in your case, you had told like you had started off with a very less number of bikes for a large crowd.
Right.
So I wanted to know, like, is there a way to find out, like, for example, market sizes of around 1,000 or 10,000? How do you calculate? What is the safe way to start off the number? Like, is there any method? And also any books to refer, like, to find out such things?
So sorry for the books, I'm still not sure, but I'll recommend for the product. What we did is, as I talked about it, we got various products. We started making various products, various designs, and got into the market and understood what does the market need. Now the market will choose various options. You need to decide. This is where the whole TAM, SAM, SOM comes into place. This is where the whole product placement comes into place. The product segmentation. While we are launching our product, we're not saying that we currently have 5 products in our portfolio. To what we're planning to increase 10, right, down the line. Why we are bringing these markets? Every single product has a different use case. In a country like Dubai, we are launching only with 3 products, and we are going to stay with 3 products. In a country like India, we are going to launch 10 products. I'll tell you the reason why. India is a set of varied demographies, right? India has a mountain, India has a beach, India has a Himalaya, India has a snow. Everything is there, right? So you cannot place one singular product in the country like India if you want to capture the complete country. If you want to capture the complete market, you have to have a product for everyone, a product for everything love. Now there is a second set of problem to it. If you want to cater to every single person, your R&D cost shoots up like anything. Your after sales service shoots up like anything. So you have to take one step at a time. You have to understand, okay, what is the best product you have today to serve? What is the biggest market to it? What is the segmentation I'm doing to it? What is the price point I'm placing it? So once I've achieved this market, certain percentage of the market 1, I will go to market 2, and that is how I will graduate. And this is how we are catering to 4 products as of now in the market, catering to almost 50 plus cities. So every city has its own requirement. Every commute has its own luxury. I personally use a bike called EMX because it is my daily office commute bike. But if I have to go in a farmhouse, or if I have to roam around in Goa, I will use a bike called Doodle, which is a fat tire luxury bike for me, right? So since the use cases are different, you need to understand what is the best use case for your product, what is the best market for your use case. And that is how you make a decision on the product understanding. I'm not sure. I'm so sorry. I can't recommend you a book as of now, but if I get anything, I'll surely forward it.
Thank you, sir. And actually, I had one more question. The thing is, like, depending on market size, for example, you have a market size of 1,000 or 10,000 people. How do you calculate, like, what is the initial number to take?
Okay.
For a startup?
So why will you take an initial number? I understand why you divide an obtainable market. You have to understand that, okay, these are the set of crowd which is available in the market. Now, with our example, we are trying to enter into a market where people are not, people don't understand what is an AV in particular. We have to still educate the crowd. The majority of still people come and ask us, why are you putting out a battery in a bicycle? It is still called a bike in Europe and US. Why are they doing this? So to answer your question, we go out, we understand that, okay, which is the largest set of crowd to cater to. You cannot restrict a product company to a certain set of crowd. I'll give you a second example. There are 2 sides to it. If you are providing a service, you can actually demarcate a product. You can actually segment the product. But when you are putting out a product which is more or less available for all, or you can segment it in a way that in a way of average earning potential, average spending potential of a consumer. That is how you go out and place the product. If say you are entering a society of 1,000 people, you understand that there are only 300 people who can actually afford a product. While your study says, your research says, you will go out and market to all 300 of them. You won't say that out of those 300, I only have 100 products to sell, so I'll only market to 100 people. And that is how we segment it. The segmentation is completely different for a product and a service-based company.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Great. Are there any more questions? There is one question from Swaraj who said, can you please recommend some books for entrepreneurs?
Oh, there's a lot of it. Okay. So for me, I have recently read one and I loved it. I mentioned it before also. It's The Psychology of Money. It is very important to have a good, healthy relationship with money, have a good, healthy relationship. And we understand that no matter how well or worse you're doing in life, money is something which takes you through the worst of moments. It can bring you out of to the worst of moments. So that is one book. In today's date, if you ask me if you want to read it today, I'll recommend that particular book to you. The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel.
Fantastic. Thanks. Okay, great. So I just wanted to also put it out there that when Kunal was speaking about TAM, SAM, SOM, for the majority of you who don't know it, TAM stands for Total Accessible Market. SAM stands for Serviceable Accessible Market, and SOM stands for Serviceable Obtainable Market. So the earlier question from that lady who asked about how do you know how many units we should go for starting up if we're going to target an X amount of customers? That's where you need to start doing some research on TAM, SAM, SOM, which is a very integral part of financial modeling as well as go-to-market. That being said, Kunal, I want to thank you so much for coming on board today and sharing your insights. It was very kind of you. I think a lot of people have got a lot of, I'm getting a lot of messages on my group saying that he's actually fantastic. He's so young and he's so talented. So fantastic, Kunal. So all hats off to you, more power to you. And really appreciate you for supporting i4C and Bootstart today. And we look forward to doing many more exciting sessions with you in the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Deacon. Thank you so much, Team i4C. It was lovely. It was wonderful. Great questions, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Team i4C. Thank you, Team Bootstart. Thanks, Kunal, once again. Have a nice day. Stay home. Stay safe, guys. Bye.
Guys, take care.